Hey guys, what's going on? It is FSD 51, headed home. We got 15 minutes. I didn't want to talk about markets today. I want to talk about this concept of the fourth turning in the context of the loss of trust in institutions and politicians and money, which continues today with Pam Bondi's testimony in front of Congress. So many of you probably know what the fourth turning is. If not, let me give you a quick summary. The basic idea is that every 80 years or so, you have a turning, and that can be driven by generational shifts or attitudes and preferences. The basic idea is that the typical lifespan, let's say, is 80 years. Obviously, that changes. Just bear with me. This is social science stuff. But society repeats the lessons learned, or the lessons that are lost as people age out and pass away. And so, here's an example: American Revolution, 1776. 80 years forward, you have a Civil War. Another 80 years forward, you have World War II. Those are some of the examples given around this fourth turning. Here's another one from financial markets. Fannie Mae was founded in 1938. Fast forward, you're at the 2008 crisis, somewhere around there, plus or minus a few years, but cycles are part of markets, right? Cycles are biblical, right? There's the 7 flush years, the 7 famine years. Like, cycles are a real phenomena. I do think there's something to it. I do think there's something to this concept of the fourth turning. There's an expression, hard times create strong leaders create good times create weak leaders create hard times. The cycle repeats. I think there's a lot to be said for that. The United States is really fat and happy as a global hegemon, and we had this great surpluses in the late 90s and technical dominance and abundance, and now you have sky-high deficits, and you've got attitudes towards work that are declining, and the luster's been lost somewhat, right? So that's an example, right? Or parents that raise kids with everyone gets a trophy mentality is an example of that also. That's an example of creating a softer generation that's desensitized to reality. So, where do we go from here? It's an interesting question. My hope/theory is that we enter into an age of greater accountability as like a counter reaction to where we are now, where there's no accountability. There's no accountability on the Pentagon. We don't know where the $1 trillion is. There's no accountability on the executive branch. Congress has oversight on the executive branch. There's no accountability on Congress with like insider trading. The next generation is highly skeptical of power. That's a good thing. That's a really, really good thing. That's the saving grace of all of this. I was talking to the youngest people at Lumida last night, and they don't trust institutions. They don't trust political leaders. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. They should be skeptical. Socrates, who was the first philosopher, he was the ultimate skeptic. He didn't even have a view. His main thesis was, I don't know. And if you had a view, he would take the other side, just to show that the best view to have was to be skeptical. So, look, I think that's a good direction to travel. Skepticism and distrust of power was at the core of the American Constitution. It's why you had the separation of powers. It's also why you had limited government. If you think about like the size and scope of the federal government today, it would be inconceivable to the framers. If I was just totally unrecognizable and inconceivable, and it's really gone too far where it can't even govern itself. Even the executive branch can't govern itself. Even like within parts of the government, they can't govern themselves. Right? It's yeah. So I just saw a couple clips of Attorney General Bondi's testimony. Man, it was just disappointing. It's disappointing. You know, parents want their kids to have role models. It's really that simple. Parents want their kids to have role models. These are not good role models. It's kind of that simple. You know, so I think this Epstein issue is it's significant and may have more enduring effects than people think, right? Because you're forced to confront views and beliefs maybe about people you elected that aren't pleasant to encounter. They're not pleasant. You know, pain is a teacher. Pain is a feedback loop. It is a signal. And either you address it or you don't. And if you don't, well, pain will find you. Either you find the suffering or the suffering will find you if you don't address those issues. So, yeah, I mean, I only saw clips. Obviously, those clips were cherry-picked. I don't watch the whole testimony. But, like, talking about how the Dallas 50,000 is not an appropriate response to the question of why victims haven't talked to the Department of Justice, or why hasn't any individual in the Epstein files been held accountable or brought to justice. There's a guy like Prince Andrew, he's in a photo, like he's a participant to sex trafficking. Why isn't he held accountable? And there's many, many others as well. I mean, it's bad. It's really bad. You know, people will see through all this. They see through it. Of course they will. Now, you know, we'll see how it plays out. I don't have any special insight around this other than it's just kind of disgusting. One thing I'll say though is that investors that can make clear judgment calls in markets, that also applies to judgment calls that are moral in nature. Something look at like Warren Buffett. He has a kind of a clear moral lens. He has clear opinions on things, right? And other skillful investors do too. Like you can't have a weak moral reasoning and also be a good investor is my strong view. Cannot happen. So there's some justice in that too. If you talk to a trader, a good trader, they're very direct, they're very straightforward. They might cuss, they might not overly prepare their words. They'll be very direct, but they'll be very honest. I remember I had this chat with a trader. I said, "How's your morning going?" He says, "No, not good. I had hemorrhoids last night." It's the first thing out of his mouth. I was like, "That's a trader personality." It's a good quality. You know where they stand. You know how they think. They're parsing reality directly, and there are no filters that are kind of buffering reality, right? So, when you see something like this, it's a wake-up call because it triggers people's conscience, right? And the conscience, which everyone has, most people have, 99% of people have, unless you're a sociopath, it is a form of, it gives us access to moral reasoning, right? And people can smell bullshit, right? That's what it is. So it's going to encourage more skepticism. It's going to cause more conversation. All that's really good. All that's really good. How it unfolds from here, we'll see. I'm not sure. But I'm glad there's more skepticism and distrust of power. Anyway, that's all I got. What are your thoughts? I mean, what else came up in that testimony? Yeah, it was not, I mean, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It does look like cases and investigations were dropped and not focused on. Not only with Bondi, but also with the prior admin too. Like, what was Merrick Garland doing? That's legitimate, but you can't hide behind that. That can't be the answer to every response. Like, you are accountable. You're in the seat. It's your job. It's your responsibility. You can make choices. What are you doing? Yeah, I don't know. This is disturbing. It just sucks, right? Anyway, I don't have anything else to say here, but I was disappointed. So you should all be disappointed. It's disappointing. Yeah, Trump doesn't play well with the Epstein files at all. There's a woman who named Trump as claimed he raped her. She showed up dead with her head blown off. And what the hell is that? Let's play some music. It's not the right music for the moment. But it's about a woman named Maria.
She moves like she don't care. Smooth as silk, cool as air. Ooh, it makes you wanna fly. She doesn't know your name, and your heart beats like a subway train. Ooh, it makes you wanna die. Ooh, don't you wanna take her? Wanna make her all your own. You've gotta see her. Go insane out of your mind. You are very real. A million candlelights. I've seen this thing before in my best friend and the boy next door. Fool for love and full of fire. Coming from the rain, she's oceans running down the drain. Blue as ice and desire. Don't you wanna make her? Ooh, don't you wanna take her home? You've gotta see her. Go insane out of your mind.
All right, we're pulling up soon. Maybe that was appropriate. I mean, those kids who lost their lives, they don't have a voice. I hope they find justice.